This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Big Deal on Madonna Street from 1958, directed by Mario Monicelli. The film's tagline, "The story of a perfect crime, perfectly hilarious." And the synopsis for the film, best friends Pepe and Mario are thieves, but they're not very good at it. Still, Pepe thinks that he's finally devised a master heist that'll make them rich. With the help of some fellow criminals, he plans to dig a tunnel from a rented apartment to the pawn shop next door where they can rob the safe. But his plan is far from foolproof, and the fact that no one in the group has any experience digging tunnels proves to be the least of their problems. So, first of all, this synopsis is not even true. It's not accurate.
I think a lot of the synopses that we found on this site are a little bit off.
Yeah, I think the lesson here is don't trust the internet. Listen,
I wouldn't trust anyone ever.
don't trust podcasts.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Don't trust
do it.
YouTube. So not only had I never seen this movie before, but I honestly knew absolutely nothing about this film till
Nice.
doing an initial look up of the trailer to throw on this episode, and I watched the trailer and I was like, "Whoa, this is a crime comedy." I when you look at that poster on Letterboxd, it's just like, what is this? Is this some slice of life Italian stuff? Whatever. So went into this really just kind of knowing, okay, some sort of heisty thing, and then finding out that, there's two American remakes of this movie.
What?
Yeah. So we'll get there. We'll get there because I watched both of them. So my first big note on this Big Deal is that, hey, dig that score. This movie's got a great piece of score going on for it. Very catchy, very Italian, very much of the late 50s. Reminds me of that Nino Rota doing all those Fellini scores, which all have equally catchy scores. Yeah, I don't know. So my thoughts on this movie, I'm not thinking about it. There's not really a lot of crime comedies that I'm a big fan of at all. There's it's a popular subgenre because sometimes nobody wants to just watch dreary, serious crime movies, except for me, I guess. But then sometimes they spruce those ones up with comedies, like an Ocean's 11 type deal, where they get big stars, big name actors, bring them in, and hijinks ensues. Laughs are had, allegedly. The real people pleasers. So, watching Big Deal on Madonna Street, this is a movie that was never meant for me. It was just kind of something that, gotta watch it. But on the whole, I think I like this movie. It's really well shot. I think it helps that I'm not a native Italian speaker, so I think the comedy works because I'm reading it, and it just there's that kind of comedy of bickering Italians that works. And I don't know, there's good lines, things like talking about there's a million guys named Mario in Italy, and I'm hey, that's exactly what I believe, and they make jokes about it in this movie, so I feel assured that I'm not a racist or a nationalist or xenophobic. A couple of my notes here, those are some fake ass baby cries.
Oh yeah, they're a little waned.
A little. They're very low audio, very soft. Yeah, I'm not really other than our boy Marcello Mastroianni. I'm not really familiar with too many of the actors in this movie. Apparently, there's I think it's the safe guy, the safe breaker, who's Toto. Apparently, he is a very big name, famous Italian comedian, stand-up guy from.
What, you don't know Toto?
I know of Africa fame, but not this Toto.
This guy doesn't know Toto.
I know.
As I look around.
As you look around your empty room.
It's not empty. There's someone in here with me.
Some animal.
Yeah.
A beast. Anyway. There's talk of cuckolds, which it's we're always keeping track of the cuckold count. We're at least 3 now in the Criterion Collection.
Oh, we got to be more than that. I think
full on. There's 3, at least 3, maybe 4, maybe 5.
3 since we've been keeping count.
Yeah, since it became the internet thing.
Yeah.
Next, we'll be keeping track of Jordan Peterson's references.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this movie's got the great post-war Europe film backdrop that we've seen in like a lot of like foreign European films from like the 40s, 50s, 60s stuff, like Third Man and whatnot. Which is just like always like, I don't know. It's kind of amazing that people functioned in this like fucking cratered out massive like population. Like people were like, oh, I'm still like going to work and stuff like that. But it's like, oh, there's just giant fucking blown out concrete buildings all around us. But that's just life. I guess like New York in the 70s, after they started like bulldozing, destroying all these projects and stuff like that, and they just like had these like empty fields that Italians would come and shoot like post-apocalyptic movies in. And horror movies and shit. So yeah, it's always nice to see ruins in movies and actual like filmed locations rather than sets. Yeah, my other note here, they really toss that cat. There's a
like what's up with that thing? I am so bummed out because like I was watching, I was like, don't do it, and then they did it. They just throw that cat at that guy, fuckers.
So far as the plot goes, there's like some weird leaps in the story that like, it doesn't really like what's going on. Wait, someone just got run down and killed by a truck? Why did that happen? It's very abrupt, and it becomes like even weirder when you watch like some of these remakes where the exact same thing happens because it happened in the original, and it's still jarring. They don't even try to explain it. It's just like that happens, and I guess it's supposed to be just funny that it's like, oh, you bet you didn't see that coming, and it solves that like character being involved. Now he's dead. But yeah, I mean, like I like this movie. I thought it was okay. I would have like never.
Can we put that on the Criterion release?
Yes, we'll put it right when it comes.
Jarrett Duncan, Criterion Creeps. I like this. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like. But at the end of the day, when we're like at like Spine 200, I don't know where Big Deal and Madonna Street's going to wind up in the grand scheme of things. But in the last like dozen or so movies we've watched, I think it's currently in the top of the middle pile. It's a little bit it's a charming little movie. Hey RJ, what did you think of A Big Deal on Madonna Street? A movie that at the end of our last episode you were kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not a real movie.
I'm still not convinced that's what this movie really was. I was given my copy by you, our legal physical copy. I think you may have made up that cover, Big Deal on Madonna Street by Mario Monicelli. That doesn't sound real at all.
Sounds fake as shit.
Fake as shit, yeah. So, like you, no, I had never seen this. And frankly, it sounded made up. So I went into this thing as fresh as you can be. The only thing I knew was you messaged me one day. You said, apparently it is a crime comedy. That's all I know. So that's all I knew going in there. I put this thing on, and in the first like 10, 15 minutes, I was like, I think I might hate this thing. I was like, this might not be the kind of thing I want to watch. And then I watched it more, and I was like, no, this actually has some pretty good stuff. And then there were a couple jokes. I was like, that's actually pretty funny. And then there were a couple scenes where I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good. And I think I'm more or less on the same line as you. I was like, yeah, this was actually a pretty good show. It's not like something that's really skimming near the top of anything, but I think your higher near the middle assessment was actually pretty spot on. So the first thing I thought about when I turned this on, I was like, oh, this is just Ocean's 11. It's even got the character who's eating all the time, that old man, like Brad Pitt, that old man. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, they're crooks, but they're actually not good. That's funny. I haven't seen that much. I think there's a few kinds of humor that get used in here. There is the extreme wit and dialogue in such lines like where the guy has 3 umbrellas and it starts raining, and another character goes, hey, take out those umbrellas. And he goes, I can't. They'll get wet. And it's like, haha, good stuff, buddy. And then another time later, a guy, when they're trying to find the fall guy, and he says, I know it's almost April, but why should I play the fool? And I went, ho, that's witty, my man. Some hot stuff. So you got some witty dialogue, and witty dialogue in there. And then I think you have like some goofball humor, kind of like last week when we watched the Tati stuff, like not absurdist stuff, but like goofball, like goofball comedy. So there's like there's like the fake broken arm that apparently was a real broken arm at one point. I'm still confused about that one. Like where 8.5 guy was like using a fake broken arm to steal stuff.
Yes.
But then later it seemed like he
camera.
actually
because the guy the guy he stole the camera from broke his arm.
Yeah. So there was that. There were scenes where like things were happening, like when that guy throws the cat, you're like, okay. And then there's like Abbott and Costello Three Stooges like things where they like go to drill in a wall and the water line breaks, and then they're like funneling it through like a series of different stuff, like busting through the walls. So there's goofy stuff in there, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean by goofy stuff?
It's not not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah, it's light, man.
Breezy.
It's light and breezy. But there were actually a few things that I thought were pretty funny. Like there's the one where they have the video of the safe, and it's like a right about when they open the safe so they can get the combination, and then the clothesline of underpants gets put right in front of the like plane of view, and I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. And then one scene I actually liked a lot was at the end, spoiler on this 60, 70-year-old movie, when the whole job is a bust, and they're just in those people's apartment, and they're all eating that pasta.
Yeah.
And because that old homeless guy's like, hey, this is actually pretty good. He's like, you guys want some? And they're like, no, get away from me. He's like, come on. He's like, it's pretty good. And he's like, old guy's like going through the fridge. He's cooking up sausages. And there's just a really nice, quiet scene where like all the guys are sitting around a table eating this cold pasta, because they're like, well, we fucked this up. So I thought that scene was actually like pretty funny and really nice. So it does have some good stuff. Like in the comedy part, there's some funny things, and just as a movie itself, I think it has some good parts. Like that scene was really cool. It has like those montage scenes where it's like, here's the plan, and like they go over the plan, and you see it happening as they start talking about it. So I don't know like when that started. This is one of the earlier examples of that I can find, or that I can think of at least.
Sure.
There were a few. Well, one thing I thought was really funny was the guy kept saying, he's like, it's very scientific. He said it like 800 times. It's very scientific. But yeah, you had like some flashy things like those montage scenes, and then like voiceover stuff where they're showing things. I was like, okay, that's kind of neat. Like in this crime comedy, I haven't seen that too many examples of that before here. And then there's a few things that I find are common here. Common to the Criterion Collection, we have Italians being depicted as rapists. Like where the woman literally can't be let out of her house because men will just get her. Mm-hmm. And that guy's real concerned, and then it does happen. So it's like, oh shit, he was right. He's like, he shouldn't let his sister out of the house because men will get her if they're in Italy. So we have Italian rapists, and then there's cuckolds and dirty stuff. And then one thing I've never seen before that I actually thought was awesome was the dirty bottle smoke, or the dirty smoke bottle, where so they're in prison and they're all sharing one cigarette. Like 5 guys are sharing a cigarette. And then they exhale into a huge bottle, and then the bottle goes to like a different group of guys, and they all take pulls off of that bad boy. Just
that like, delicious secondhand smoke.
Secondhand smoke. I actually thought that was really cool because I've never seen anything like that before. And if I had known about it, I'm not kidding, I probably would have did that in like high school or something. So
wow,
gross, but it's true.
Yep, I'm
just being honest. No, is for a movie I had never heard of and would have never watched on my own had it not been on this for this podcast. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like I was like, oh yeah, there's some fun stuff in here. It's nice and light.
Yeah.
It's not fucking gonna rock your world or blow your dick off or anything. It's not Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But I don't know. Like,
is that going to be on the new packaging? It's not going to blow your dick off. It's no Ninja Scroll.
But you got to leave the button there, and then people will be interested. They'll be like, ooh, shit. dude's talking about Ninja Scroll. This thing must be hot.
Yeah.
No, it had some nice little moments. I think it's just not. I don't know. It's nothing like special.
Yeah, it's just a nice little comedy. It's inoffensive and it's watchable. It looks nice.
Yep.
Yeah, like a couple other bits I'm just thinking back to. So yeah, there's like a couple of gags that like I guess work fairly well because I didn't expect that this film would have like I guess like I underestimated the intelligence of the film. Like there's like the thing where like the boxer, the who takes the fall, and then it doesn't actually work out for the guy who is trying to get someone to take the fall for him so he could get out to pull the heist. He starts selling the line like, oh god, I got 3 years. Oh, your idea must have never been that good in the first place. And then the guy's like, oh yeah, this is the idea. And he's like, oh cool. It's like, well, see you later. What do you mean? Yeah, I got a year, but it's just parole. And then he walks out. He's like, you son of a bitch. Takes his hat, stomps on it, etc., etc. I was like, that's like, because I was very confused at that point, because I'm like, when the hell did he get 3 years? Like, it just, like, did that just happen off camera? It seems like a few things happen off camera, like the arm being broken, where you're kind of like, wait, his arm broke? I'm like, okay, I guess that's like complicates things. There's also like kind of these nice things where like the one guy who's trying to really win over the housemaid. And like she quits her job, and he's like, oh, she's got the keys. I'm just gonna, while she's talking, I'm just gonna take the keys out of her purse, and it's all gonna be great. But then it's like the whole like the tension of like, oh, now she wants the keys back. She feels really bad about taking the keys, like a good person would. And he's like, oh, now I have to like figure out a way to like make it so it doesn't look like I just stole those keys and that she gave them to me, and et cetera, et cetera. So I thought that was good. It's a nice little moment shooting on a bus, and then there's like the sister stuff, which is a thorough line between these remakes. It seems to be the thing that these remakes really got their hooks into. And they're like, yeah, we got to do the sister. We got to do all that stuff. That's comedy. But
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, well,
not that it's like, oh, that sucks. It's
you wait.
Come on, who cares?
Well, so speaking of these remakes, the first one is called Crackers. It's from it's like Safe Crackers, but like Animal Crackers because it's a comedy. It's directed by Louis Malle, future Criterion Creep director. We haven't got there yet. This film stars, and let me lay out who's in this. We got Donald Sutherland, Sean Penn, Jack Warden, Artie Lang's dad in Dirty Work. We got Wallace Shawn, who's in a whole bunch of shit, and he's like an inconceivable guy from Princess Bride. So this movie's got like a pretty sweet sounding cast, and for the degree of the pedigree of the director, you're like, this should be a pretty good little piece of comedy. Oh, and it's also cinematography by Laszlo Kovacs, who like shot like everything in the 70s and made everything look great back in the day.
Good Hungarian boy.
Yeah, Easy Rider, Ghostbusters, like 5 Easy Pieces. That dude's everywhere. Multiplicity.
One of my favorite fucking movies.
The Next Karate Kid.
Girl.
The Scout. So this movie fucking sucks.
Oh no, what happened?
It's like when a comedy goes horribly wrong. So the story is now it's set from like the pawn shop's perspective, I guess. Like there's no like random thing where it's like, because like in the first movie, it's like the pawn shop's an afterthought. Like you never step foot in it really, or you step like one guy walks in and that's about it. And but it's like nothing specific. Like it's just there, and it's the goal. And this though, it's like Jack Warden owns the pawn shop. Donald Sutherland's like a kind of down on his out. He's like kind of unemployed and working security for it. And him and a bunch of other people who are like hawking stuff to the pawn shop, they're all bitter about how this guy treats them. So they're gonna like, while he's away for the weekend, they're gonna break in and steal some stuff. It's like very like whatever.
When was this made?
1984. This is like I think it's like if you like sort your letterbox list with Louis Malle's filmography, it's like his least popular movie, and it's also one of his lowest rated movies. I was like kind of like, well, how bad could it be? And it's just you watch it. And it's just like every time I've watched like some of these like 70s, 80s comedies that nobody talks about, you'll figure out really quickly why nobody talks about them, because they're just like the writing sucks, the actors have nothing to work with. They're trying like they think just by like being there it's good enough, but no, it's really not. We've replaced the hot-blooded Italian with a sister who he's trying to protect with a hot-blooded Mexican with a sister.
Is that okay?
Well, we'll talk about the next movie, and we'll see what minority takes that role then.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have made a note here, and I don't even remember what it's in reference to. It's something about Sean Penn wants that Latino ass, and so he's going after that the Mexican brother's sister, because that's what they did in the other movie. But
is his name Mario in this?
No, it's like some silly name. I'll look it up right now since you asked so politely.
I'm just trying to see like what the furrow line is here. Like what's getting carried over.
His name is
all this stuff.
Dillard.
Dillard?
Yep.
The fuck kind of name is that? That's not a real name, is it?
And Donald Sutherland plays a character named Westlake, which I guess is a reference to Donald Westlake, the mystery writer. He like, man, and any charm and like whimsy he has in Invasion of the Body Snatchers is like totally gone here in Crackers.
Does he show his butt in this movie?
No, because I didn't even get that far, because after like an hour of this thing just going on endlessly, I tapped. I quit. This shit sucked. There's a pimp. There's a black pimp. He's playing the Mastrioni character. He's
who?
8.5 guy, if you will.
Okay.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. See, he's got a baby, but he's a pimp instead of a photographer for whatever reason. Yeah, Crackers is ugly. It's the shits. There's a reason why no one talks about it. But then, RJ, I watched Welcome to Collinwood, which is from 2002 and is directed by the directors who are on mark to having one of the highest grossing films of all time. The Russos.
The Wachowskis?
The Russos. Anthony and Joe. You might have heard of them.
Those guys.
This was their directorial debut, I believe.
For movies or for because they were doing TV too, right?
For movies, yes. So this is
because they did like Arrested Development.
Well, this is before Arrested Development.
Goddamn.
So this is their movie. They only made like 2 movies before they started making Marvel stuff. Because they made this. They made You, Me, and Dupree from 2006. Then they went and did Arrested Development for like a while, and then they came in and did Captain America: Winter Soldier, Civil War, and then Infinity War.
So you're saying these are up and coming young kids?
Well, this was their first movie, way back when. Like this is what 16 years ago now.
Jeez.
And this feels like more of like a straight up remake. Like all like the weird like plot details are all there. Like it opens up with like the car being jacked, and it fails, and one of them gets arrested. It's like it wasn't me. You got the wrong guy, even though he's like in the car, like literally has a scarf in it. And then the guy's got this big idea, and then of course it's played by Louise Guzman.
I love Louise Guzman.
Well, so let me tell you the cast for this movie: William H. Macy. Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
George Clooney.
What?
Yeah, Louise Guzman. Michael Jeter, who like died the next year. Isaiah Washington, Patricia Clarkson, Jennifer Esposito. This movie's got some folk in it.
Why is George Clooney in this movie?
He gets to play the safecracker guy, and he gets to play the Toto role. He's in it. He's in it for a hot second.
He's in a sweet cameo.
He has to be in a wheelchair, which I'm sure he demanded.
Why?
Because he probably was like, I always wanted to play a guy in a wheelchair. I'm sure that was about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
William H. Macy gets to play. What character is he?
The guy with the kid?
The
The old guy?
God damn. No, he's 8.5.
The guy with the kid.
Yeah, yeah, but he's a photographer. But he knows what he's into cameras. So at least there's like that carried over. He's not just a pimp.
Okay.
And then Sam Rockwell's the boxer. So we get a straight up scene where he's the boxer and he gets knocked out really quickly. It seems like whenever I read reviews of any movie about Sam Rockwell, people always have to talk about how hot Sam Rockwell is. It's kind of bizarre to me.
Maybe it's just because you're not clued into the hotness.
I'm not.
What is Isaiah Washington?
He's God, who is he in this?
Well, he's either got to be the old guy, the orphan, or the guy who keeps his sister locked up.
He's the guy who keeps his little sister locked up.
Okay.
Minorities. Because he's black, and he protects his sister too, like those hot-blooded Mexicans, and the real swarthy Italians.
Gotcha.
Yes, so that's what he gets to do.
Do they have an old guy?
Yes, that's Michael Jeter. He's the bum. He's the homeless man. Louis Guzman's the guy who gets run over by a car. And he's very hot-blooded and angry that they're stealing his idea, and very sweary. Because it's 2002, you can say fuck a lot and be cussy.
Okay, I just have one question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a pasta scene?
No.
Well, this movie sucks.
Yeah, so this movie seems it's trying to like smooth out the quirkiness of Big Deal. It's trying to make it like more like they maybe like these guys were like, yeah, it's such a great movie. It's such a classic. Let's like we could do it over again and like have this like great cast and but we're gonna like leave some of the problems that the original movie had, but then we're gonna try to like explain other things and like make you really believe that they're falling in love. And they're all gonna walk away like lessons learned and like do a sweet thing where they give the money over to William H. Macy so he can get his wife out on bail, that sort of stuff.
Is that how it plays out?
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing where it's like they drill through the wrong wall, which I didn't mention. So with Big Deal, I thought that was really good. I thought that like the actual reveal of the hole being made and then it's just like into the kitchen. I thought I was like, whoa! I really wasn't expecting that in this movie. Like I didn't think that was where it was going. But then by the time you watch Welcome to Collinwood, you're just kind of like, oh my god! Like,
why did they name it that? Why did they name it Welcome to Collingwood? That's a really stupid name.
Because that's where the characters are from. It has nothing to do with anything at all.
Could have just been called Madonna Street.
Could have been.
Could have been just called Big Deal.
Big Deal. Could have been. It could have been just called Big Deal.
That's going to be our movie.
Big Deal.
Big Deal. It's going to be about going to the bathroom.
Anyway.
Nice. So what else about Collingwood?
It's slickly made. It's like made like a 2002 crime movie that like no one's ever going to talk about. It doesn't take full advantage of all of the cast. I feel like all these people would be better served in like with better material. I like that William H. Macy in this. He's just like weird, like kind of short sideburns in like a toque. It looks like a longshoreman. I don't know, man.
Do you think popularity is gonna catch on with that Infinity War buzz?
No, I think it seems like people check this movie out because they're like, oh, I really am into the Russo brothers now, and then they watch it and then they go, oh.
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if you like are into kind of the dumb criminal genre, this might appeal to you more. But I felt like watching these movies like in sequence, like watching the original to watching like this bad 80s comedy to this like kind of like middling early 2000s comedy. You're just like all the problems are just present for each of those eras, and like it's like Big Deal. Just like watching these movies, it's like this movie is just like so much better. You appreciate really great cinematography, and it goes back to me thinking about like the Tati movies about like, well, why can't comedy be really well shot?
Yeah, and
that isn't to say Welcome to Collingwood's like ugly shot, poorly shot. It like looks like a movie of the time. Like,
sure.
I can see here who's the director, who's the cinematographer, Charles Minsky, who shoots such films as Kazam,
Whoa,
Pretty Woman, Princess Diaries 2, Valentine's Day, Raising Helen, Dutch with Ed O'Neill, that Tomcats with Jerry O'Connell.
Oh, I love Tomcats.
Yeah, so these movies that have like no visual identity whatsoever is the person who co-shot this movie. But the woman who apparently co-cinematographer, she's got quite the fucking list of films here. Menace to Society, Pollock, Trees Lounge, the Steve Buscemi movie, Love Liza, Dead Presidents. It's like, oh,
what's her name?
Lisa Rinsler. Yeah. So there's like parts of it that looked fine, but like, I mean, this doesn't have that really nice, rich 1950 cinematography or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sad.
the lesson there is like, yeah, it's kind of interesting to watch these things and see what kind of comes out of it, like what they make, decisions they make. But man, that Crackers movie, what a turd.
Well, I guess you could say that they're not as big deal.
No deal
on Madonna.
Art of the deal.
Do you think Madonna's ever seen this movie?
Doubtful. She was deep in the throes of her relationship with Guy Ritchie, so she didn't have time for movies like this.
I think this is a big movie in Kabbalah.
Yeah.
It's about like inner peace because like they mess up the con, and at the end they're like, you know what, we're okay.
Well, RJ,
yeah,
who hates Big Deal on Madonna Street?
Does anybody?
There is one 2.5-star review and nothing lower.
Wow.
With a written review. So this is a 2.5-er, and the only one after that it's all 3 stars because like no one watches this movie.
Yeah.
Lieb Net.
Excuse me.
2.5 stars. The audience seemed to have a glorious time, but I just didn't find it at all that amusing.
Is that the whole?
That's the whole review. Sick burn.
Okay, I looked up LiebNet. They are from Melbourne. Mm-hmm. Their favorite movies, Jarrett, could you guess? Are Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, 2001?
Delicatessen.
Ooh.
From 1991.
Jeannot.
Chungking Express.
Okay.
And Dog Days from 2001. What's Reservoir Dogs doing in there?
That's 90s, man. That is all 90s.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna dig a little deeper into this person's. They gave a lot of Black Mirror episodes 5 stars. Killing of a Sacred Deer, Breakfast Club. Yeah, your 2001 and your Empire Strike Backs are 5-star affairs, as you had suspected. Mm-hmm. This person's got a weird mix of really good movies and movies that it's like, interesting. Interesting. They might listen to the show. They got a lot of Criterions.
Well, you're welcome aboard. I mean,
yeah. Well, and then Welcome to the Dollhouse and Kids, also 5-star affairs. And Shrek. Why is Shrek on everybody's fucking list all of a sudden?
Do you have a problem with Shrek?
No, Shrek's fine. It's just why is everyone giving Shrek 5 stars? I don't get it. Also, Jungle Fever. Come on, guys. Jungle Fever is not a 5-star affair. Cut it out.
Yeah, folks. Come on. All we have in our lives is our credibility on Letterboxd. You got to take it seriously. You got to get in the game.
Yeah, I'm fine with Shrek. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, Big Deal on Madonna Street. Decent. Liked it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. It's worth a watch. Once in your life, do it. After the break,
Shrek.
RJ and I are going to fail.
I don't fail.